Hello, Clarion, and welcome to the best sports show in Pennsylvania, I must say. Off the bench, I'm your host, the one and only Mr. Hello Clarion, a.k.a. Dom Walker. With me today, my new co-host, Alex. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here.
Happy to be here, ready to bust it up again?
Always.
And with me also, sports anchor for CUTV The Nest, my boy Jeff. What's up?
Living the dream, Dom, living the dream.
Ready to talk about some sports?
Oh, I can't wait, man.
I mean, we just got done with sports night. Clearing sports is really, that kind of depressed me. So let's bring the energy back to the room and hop right into it with Mariano Rivera. Yeah, he sets the new saved record for MLB of all time. What does this say about his already great career, Alex?
It really speaks to his consistency and longevity he's had, as the Yankees closer. I mean, you think about the pressure of being a closer in general. They typically don't have long leashes. And you think about being a Yankee and the pressure that's going to come every single year with that. And just year in and year out to be that model of consistency. And just with the cut fastball, too, just that one pitch, it's really remarkable.
He's that crutch they can always lean on to pull through and get the Yankees to the greatness. And they're always a contender. So without him, they lose a lot of games. So
and a lot of World Series.
Yeah. Jeff, what do you got to say about this?
Big Mo in New York. If you think of great New York players, you think Derek Jeter and you think Mariano Rivera.
Yeah.
I think with this new all-time record, I think he's actually eclipsed Derek Jeter.
Okay, so he's a greater Yankee than Derek, you think?
I believe so.
Okay.
He only trails Trevor Hoffman in one stat now. That's consecutive seasons with 40-plus saves. He has one more season to do that. Who knows if he'll be back next year or how much he's got left in the tank. But the Yankees are looking pretty good at the top of the division, and I think he's going to have a great postseason.
Yeah. Okay, moving on now, man. HBO special pay-per-view. I ordered it. I'm hoping everyone else did. Mayweather versus Victor Ortiz. Mayweather wins on a controversial knockout. It ended in the 4th round. What do you got to say about this, Alex?
I don't have
just the way he won.
I don't have a problem with it because it's legal.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not illegal, you shouldn't have a problem with it.
Okay.
The round was still going on. The ref, said to begin the round.
Even though the ref did look away, he didn't even see what was going on.
I think it's the lesson of keep your hands up in boxing. When you have Floyd Mayweather.
That's the #1 rule, protect yourself.
If I was fighting Floyd Mayweather, my hands are going to be up the entire time. So I have no problem with it.
Jeff, what do you got to say about the style and the fashion that Mayweather won?
I think it just completely shows what boxing is today, a lack of integrity.
Yeah.
I mean, they teach you in boxing, when you first start boxing, the first thing they tell you is always protect yourself. At the beginning of the match, they tell you, protect yourself at all times.
Exactly.
Why Ortiz didn't protect himself at all times, I can't tell you. But as an opponent, Mayweather, you have to respect the rules,
Yeah.
You have to respect the sport, and I don't think he did that.
Yeah, it seemed to me that Victor Ortiz, after he headbutted him, he just kept apologizing, and it gets to a point where you have to continue to box. I mean, we're not here to be friends. We're here to fight and make money. And he kept his guard down. Even after he got hit the first time, before he got the knockout blow, he's looking at the ref like, stop this, do something. I mean, so Victor Ortiz was dirty for the hit, but Mayweather, it was a little classless, but I can't knock you for the way you did it. So it is what it is. He's still undefeated. I still want to see you fight Pac-Man. Moving on now, Pitt and Syracuse are going to move to the ACC now. Is this a good move for these two teams to move to the ACC? What do you think, Alex?
Well, it's a bad move if you're a fan because I love Big East basketball.
Yeah,
who doesn't? But it's just a money-driven move. And Jim Boeheim of Syracuse had said, this is all about money. And that's really just the crux of the issue. And I think with everyone in the NCAA moving around in conferences, no one wants to be left behind. And I think that's why teams are moving. Jeff,
what do you think about Pitt and Syracuse moving to the ACC?
I think obviously football is driving this bus. I think it's a good move, actually. If you don't move now, you're going to get left behind. As you can see, all the Big 12 teams talking to the Pac-12 and the SEC. Pitt and Syracuse are two struggling football programs that have had a hard time to break through in the past 5-10 years. So I guess this is them trying to get a leg up on the rest of the field. I do see 4 super conferences coming of 16 teams, and I actually think this is the end of the BCS. I think in about 5 years there'll be an 18 playoff to decide the national championship.
Yeah, let's get a playoff system going on because I'm actually quite tired of the BCS voting and all how that polls things and go. Playoff system will make a more more entertaining college postseason. We're going to shoot it to our first commercial break. Don't go far. You're watching Off the Bench. bench. We're now going to jump into some college football. It was a great weekend for college football. First topic that I'm going to bring up to you is who's your guys' favorite top 10 team and why? Alex.
I really like the Badgers of Wisconsin. You know, they have that new school, old school mentality. If they're still a power running team, they always have great linemen, always churning out guys for the NFL. Monte Ball has 7 touchdowns on the year. But now they have a more of a threat at quarterback in Russell Wilson Jr. with 8 touchdowns on the year. That kind of dual threat, can pass, can run. So a really dynamic team with kind of that still old school mentality.
Yeah, I think Monte Ball, NFL scouts are going to be chewing at the bit to try to get him on his team because he's just a prototype guy, the every down type of back.
Everyone's looking for that franchise running back.
Exactly. Jeff, who's your favorite top 10 team?
I'm going to have to agree, the Wisconsin Badgers. My main sticking point is they don't play anybody for the rest of the year. They have 2 ranked teams left on their schedule as of right now. They're also 11th in points scored, averaging 45 points a game, and their defense is playing abnormally good. They're 4th in points against, only letting up 8 points a game. When you only give up 8 points a game, it's hard to lose.
Yeah, you're right about that. My favorite top 10 team, I have 2 actually, is LSU and Alabama. Just the heritage, the tradition, the coaching, the players, they just consistently every year get it done. Nick Saban, Les Miles, I mean, you can't say more about these guys. I mean, they just every year they're in the top 10. And I'll be excited to see who actually pulls ahead of each other in that top 10 poll right now. It's still, college season's still young, still open, so we shall see. But LSU and Alabama are my favorites. Now moving on, we got a big game coming up this Saturday, Oklahoma State versus Texas A&M. And I just want to know who you guys got in this one and why. First, Alex.
It's a tough call, but I'm going to go Oklahoma State. They're scoring at least 37 points in all 3 of their games. 2 of their games, they were up around 60. You know, one of the top receivers in the league in Justin Blackmon. He's got the size, speed, very tough to cover. And Oklahoma State's won the last 2 games against Texas A&M, so I'm going to go Oklahoma State.
Jeff, who's your pick for this big matchup?
I think Oklahoma State's offense is going to run Texas A&M right off the field.
Yeah.
Their top 2 receivers average over 12 yards of reception, which is amazing, and they're first in pass yards in the nation, with averaging 408 yards a game. This offense is powerful, it's explosive, and I don't think Texas A&M has the defenders to keep up with it. Yeah,
even though you guys say about Oklahoma State, that's who I also picked, but Texas A&M defense is 9th overall right now in points allowed, so that's going to be a nice matchup, explosive offense versus a defense like that. Like you said, the battle of the Big 12 right now. They're both in the Big 12, so they're going to have to see each other again prior to this. But like you said, I don't know if Texas A&M will be able to control that explosive offense from Oklahoma State, but number 7 versus number 8 in the same conference, I just can't wait for this one. Moving on now, early Heisman picks. I just want to know who's your guys' favorite right now in the Heisman race. Alex.
Well, everyone talked about him week 1 in the NCAA season, but Robert Griffin of Baylor, he kind of went away the past couple weeks, 41 for 49 on the year, 2nd in the team in rushing. Very dynamic player. It's a very tough schedule, but if Baylor continues playing like the way they are, he's going to get a lot of talk.
Yeah, you're right about that. Jeff, who's your pick?
I like the South Carolina running back Marcus Lattimore.
Yeah.
His first game at East Carolina, he had 112 rush yards. Next week at Georgia, he had 176. And last week at Navy, he had 246 yards.
Wow.
Yeah.
Every game, he just seems to get better and better, and it doesn't look like he's slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, he's an animal. He fits in the same category with Monte Ball. Like I said, that's my pick. Also, Marcus Lattimore. He has 87 attempts on the year, 534 yards already, so getting over 1,000 is going to be relevantly easy for him at this point. Who knows? He might hit the 2,000 marks. Who knows? But he has 7 touchdowns so far, and he's averaging 6.1 yards a carry. I mean,
those are video game numbers.
All you got to do is give him the ball, and he's going to produce for you. It's just crazy, and I can't wait to see him in the NFL. Now, moving on to the last topic for the college football block. What was your favorite moment from this past week in college football, Alex?
I would say Georgia Tech. You know, I know the running game is always strong, but 50 rushes, over 12 yards a carry, and a 66-24 win over Kansas. I mean, that is ridiculous, even for Georgia Tech standard. So it was incredibly cool.
Jeff, what was your favorite moment in college football this week?
My favorite moment was Notre Dame finally getting that win out against Michigan State. There was a lot of pressure on Brian Kelly after his blow-up in Week 1 and after the disappointment in Week 2 against Michigan. There's a lot of pressure on the team. Being down there in South Bend, spotlights all on them. They had to get this win out of the way. If they would have went down 0-3, I think Brian Kelly's job would be in question. I think his integrity would be in question, and it would just be a horrible situation in South Bend.
It's kind of something that happened last year. But moving on to now, what my favorite moment was the Oregon Ducks, after a heartful loss to LSU in Week 1, they've bounced back. I mean, they've put a whomping last week onto the team, and then they put up 56 points to Missouri State's 7 points. I mean, their offense and defense is clicking. I think that loss might have put things back in perspective for them. They went to the national championship. They lost. I thought they were going to come back refocused and ready, but they took a tough loss to LSU week 1. But I think these guys are getting back on track, and I'm anxious to see if they can get back in that top 10. You know, college football is always crazy, so you never know what can happen. We're going to shoot it to another commercial break, but don't go far. You're watching Off the Bench. And welcome back to Off the Bench. We're now going to jump into my favorite topic, the NFL. It was a lot of crazy games, crazy injuries. First topic, guys. What team suffered their biggest loss this week due to injury? Alex.
It has to be the Kansas City Chiefs losing Jamal Charles for the year with a torn ACL. I mean, there are not many weapons left from that team. They've already lost Tony Moyaki for the year to a torn ACL too. There's about Dwayne Bowe, and that's it. And their record showing it. They've been blown out in both games.
Yeah. Jeff, who suffered the biggest loss due to injury?
I think it's got to be Philadelphia. I mean, Michael Vick, uncertain of his status. No Vince Young as of last week. You got an unproven second-year player in Mike Kafka. Who knows if he can control that offense?
Yeah, I thought Kafka was going to be able to come in and kind of maintain and get the win, but you clearly seen what happened. The Falcons was just too powerful, and they overwhelmed them, and they got that win. And I'm like, Kafka, come on. And Vince Young, why wasn't he dressed? I'm still not sure about that.
Another thing about Jamal Charles, he didn't have a big effect in the Buffalo game when they got blown out 41-3. And I mean, he got injured in the Detroit game, but they still lost 48-3.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Jamal Charles would have had much impact on that Kansas City team. I think they're going to have a rough year this year.
Yeah, I picked Jamal Charles just because they already lost their best defensive player in Eric Berry. Now they're losing their